What's up, guys? This is Andrew again, hopping on here. Decided I'm going to try to post at minimum once a week and gradually increase that based off of the feedback I've been getting from you guys and the ones that have been reaching out and I've been able to connect with. If this is the first time you're seeing this video, my name is Andrew, and I've posted, I think, a total of 4 videos right now talking about my experience with the product Botanic Tonics and my 11-month journey with it, where I was addicted to it. And towards the last 3 months of me being addicted to it, before stopping going cold turkey, I was drinking about 12 bottles a day. And it was really ruining my life. For the lack of a better way to put it. And it ultimately led me to a very low point, probably the lowest point of my life. And I finally got to the point where I had suffered enough and was able to get the strength and the courage to quit and not go back. So now it's July, I quit in October, it's almost August actually. So I'm about 8 months clean. I haven't touched it again. Haven't really had any struggles trying to avoid it. No cravings or anything like that. I've just kind of gotten on with my life, and things are going really well in my life right now, where a year ago I was somewhat knowingly about to enter the most difficult period of my life. So anyway, I'm posting again here because based on the 3 previous videos I've made and me talking to you guys and connecting with you, some of you one-on-one, you guys seem to really like it, and it also helps me in a way too to kind of give back and gain a little bit more clarity and learn from this experience, learn from this adversity. It allows me to process it more efficiently. And one of the common themes I've talked about with this experience that I went through, with no prior substance abuse or dependence or addiction beforehand, that I really looked at this experience as something I could grow from if I was willing to, confront the situation and lean into it and go deep rather than run away, which is what I was doing for the better half of 5.5 months, taking this stuff. So anyway, I apologize in advance. I'm just on my walk right now. I just had some lunch. It's super hot out, so I apologize if I'm breathing a little heavier. I look a little sweaty, but I'm in Southern California and we're in a heat wave right now. It's about 95 degrees out at 1 in the afternoon. But anyway, I wanted to hop on here, sort of like talk a little bit about things that have been coming up as I've started talking to some of you guys, and since I started posting in the Reddit threads and on YouTube about this experience a little over 3.5 weeks ago. So, a lot of you guys have reached out and you're in different circumstances. Some of you guys are 3 months in and starting to realize, and obviously with all the information that's out there when you do your research, whether it be on Reddit or on YouTube videos, the truth of this stuff potentially harming you or getting you super addicted to it is more available than it was when I started taking it, which is good, because if I had started listening to these horror stories or seen these horror stories of people that have been addicted for 12 months and really skyrocketed their tolerance and weighing down, like really having a negative impact on their physical health like it did for me. If I saw these 3 or 4 months into my journey before I just started to really rely heavily on Feel Free and increase my tolerance and use it sort of like as a performance enhancing drug, I don't know how hard I would have went or how long I would have allowed it to last if I was able to talk to and see people who really were harmed by it and got into a pretty bad addiction with it. So anyway, yeah, I've been talking to people that, you know, are 2-3 months in, taking it daily, 2-3 bottles a day. And then I've been talking to people who were in a similar situation to me. Were in a similar situation to me right before I quit, when I was just going through those 3 months of hell where I couldn't function without it really, and I was waking up in withdrawals and drinking anywhere from 10 to 12 bottles a day. I've talked to people who are in that right now, just looking for a way out. And I feel for you guys, I do, because I don't think, you know, the majority of these people started drinking this supplement aware of the potential harmful consequences of getting addicted to it, or not even knowing how addictive this stuff can be. And I have my own theories on that, and I can make a video about why I think this product, specifically this type of kratom, is a lot more addictive, with like the alkaloids and maybe altering the alkaloids and increasing their potency. That's a conversation for a different video that I've thought about making. But anyway, I wanted to make this kind of quick. I'm mainly just looking to get sort of a nugget or a message out there that's been on my mind when I post these videos. But one of the things that I realized when I really confronted the truth that I was addicted to this stuff, and it was a deeper hole than I had been allowing myself to believe, was around in August, and I quit in November again, but I tried going cold turkey in August. And leading up to me going cold turkey, I was like, okay, like this might be a little bit difficult. I'm obviously drinking it every day. The cravings are hard, but I haven't tried to commit to going cold turkey. Let's just do this and then see what happens. So I did that, failed miserably, caved that night because I was just experiencing crippling anxiety and like fear and discomfort, physical withdrawals. I couldn't sleep. So I caved and I drank one and allowed myself to go down that downward spiral of the next 3 months, even increasing my tolerance from like 8 to 10 bottles to 10 to 12 a day. But one of the things I was doing, because when I think back to that time, it was obviously a lot of peaks and troughs. Some days I felt fine or felt better than other days when I was still drinking feel free. And that allowed me to justify like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I need to like tweak a few things, be more hydrated, or take a supplement to like fix the deficiency that might be making me feel like shit and that type of stuff. So there were like a lot of peaks and troughs, but the troughs were starting to get worse and worse each time and stay a little bit longer and more consistent. And oftentimes when I was just in that frequency of shame and guilt at night where I was like, I drank way too much of this, maybe I threw up that day, hadn't eaten anything, and I just like looked at myself in the mirror, and that caused like just negative feelings to arise. There were a lot of times where I would journal and kind of just write down what was going on from like a neutral standpoint, and really tried to remain non-judgmental of the situation, but just tried to be as objective and aware of what I was going through as possible. And I can post some of those journals that I wrote, because I've actually transcribed them onto an Evernote. But one of the things that was pretty consistent in my journaling during those times when I was addicted is that I had utter confidence that I could get off of it. And when I got off of it, it was more so like speaking affirmations, and I was accepting that this was a time period that's not going to last forever. And the second thing is that I was going to gain from going through the discomfort of releasing this attachment to feel free. Whether I truly believed it or not, I was just speaking it and almost forcing myself to believe that I needed to go through this difficult experience, this adversity, that I was 100% accepting. No matter how many times I tried to do it, I was gonna get through it and release the attachment, and then my life was gonna be better on the other side of getting off of feel free, going through that temporary discomfort through the withdrawal process, popping out the other side and learning from it, gaining from it. So that was sort of my mentality that like kept me going when I was in those dark times, because obviously it's peaks and troughs. You can feel good, you can feel shame. That was sort of like the I guess exercise or whatever. That was sort of how I pulled myself out of that depression and dark hole when I was addicted to these things in the last 3 months. As I was journaling, but reminding myself that I'm stronger than this substance, and I had the ability, and I could muster up the courage and the strength to get off of it. And my outlook was that I was going to gain from this experience and be a more capable human and use this experience to be a blessing to other people. And I literally was writing that in my journal. And I was committed to it. And so as I kind of look back, and I don't mean to be all over the place again, I didn't go into this with too much idea on what I was going to talk about, but as I look back and try to think and be like, yo, so I was suffering. I clearly had times where I was just so done with feel free, but like what was it that finally put me in a position where I said enough was enough, took action, and got off this shit? And I really do think that I was willing to suffer more than I was in those 3 months. Like I hadn't hit my rock bottom yet. And again, guys, like I was a pretty severe case of being addicted to this stuff. I had lost 50 pounds. My skin looked like shit. My friend who hadn't seen me in half a year told me like he thought I was addicted to heroin. And I couldn't function without it. Like I was literally useless without having this stuff in my system. And towards the end, I was pretty close to useless even when I had it in my system. And it basically just got to a point where I had suffered enough where I was just done. I like poked out the other side and just hit rock bottom. And I know I say rock bottom, but it was like rock bottom spiritually for me. I just had like submitted and given up on trying to continue to entertain this dependence. And granted, one of the things that I believe helped me, because I've been talking to a lot of you guys who are, you know, maybe you have a girlfriend or even a family or, you know, close friends that don't know about what you're going through. Look, I'm not going to tell you there's a right or wrong way to do this. I'll just tell you from my experience, one of the things that really helped me, kind of like almost put a timer on like, all right, I have to get off of this shit right now, was telling my sister, my mother, my boss, who I have a really good relationship. He's more of like a business partner at this point, but I told like the people that mattered the most to me what I was going through in September, and I didn't quit till November, but they knew what was going on and they were able to check in and kind of just see where I was at. And I was telling them like, yeah, I have a plan to get off of it. I'm not going to continue this forever, but let me see if I can taper. Let me see if I can manage, which I know a lot of you guys are trying to taper. And again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Everyone is different, but just from my experience, tapering didn't work for me. I'm too obsessive. I guess I have way too much of like that addictive and extreme personality where I just like, I go 0 to 100. So if I tried to taper and I felt good, I'd be like, oh, cool. So I can just take more of it and I'm fine now. So it just didn't work for me. I knew I needed to go cold turkey, but I looked at cold turkey as this like purge, this cathartic experience I needed to go through to learn the lesson of what got me to where I was at. And I think that's kind of what the theme of this message is today, where if you are a more severe case, obviously if you're like pedaling, if you just started this and you know you have an issue, reach out to me and I'll kind of tell you where I was at and what I would have done different and how I would have gotten off it if I was at 3 bottles a day 3 to 4 months into this thing. Obviously you're aware that this can be a slippery slope. Everyone's different. But I guess this message is speaking to people who have tried and failed and their tolerance is up there, and the withdrawals, the physical withdrawals, the mental withdrawals are a little bit stronger than if you were drinking, 2 to 3 bottles a day. But I mean, there is a lesson in this experience. If you are at that point that I can relate to right before I got off, there is hope. And I would try to, whenever you are feeling those feelings of shame and guilt, try to just like become neutral and aware of how you're feeling. And I know if you don't have the energy or the motivation to journal, but I would encourage you maybe writing down your feelings and trying to view it from like an observer view and take yourself out of your body for a sec. I mean, that's kind of what helped me, and it put me in a right frame enough for me to go through the withdrawals. And it also kind of sets an anchor when you are at a low point and you journal to yourself and you basically are just totally observant of what you're going through, and observant of the negative feelings you're feeling, and observant and aware of the situation you're in. That can kind of act as an anchor where once you do get off of that, you're like, yo, that low point when I was drinking Feel Free is just too strong for me to even want to go back to these things. And, there's some people I've talked to that have quit them for even 2 months and then they go back to them. So just pay attention and try to anchor yourself in these low points before you quit, whether you're ready to quit, whether you've suffered enough, or whether you're just totally done and you're ready to go. Hit me up. I can definitely offer you kind of like some guidance for what worked for me when I set up my protocol just to totally get off of it. I definitely had to pattern interrupt myself and put myself in a new environment. Nothing too extreme, but you can get off it because the withdrawals are quicker than I would have imagined, and I bounce back quicker. So the withdrawals overall, they sucked. They weren't easy. Very like strong physical withdrawals from these things, but they're not as bad as I had anticipated it to be in my mind. But yeah, I mean, for those of you who are just going through it, maybe when I was like in July and August where I knew I had a problem, but I'm like, I'm gonna kick it. You're kind of just kicking the can down the road. Just pay attention, become a little bit more aware of where like your headspace is at, especially in these low moments, and don't try to escape it. Just kind of surrender to it and let go. And I would encourage anyone to journal, because who knows what these things could do for you, or this experience could do for you once you get off of it. It could be a blessing to someone else, could help someone else, it could help you discover a little bit more about yourself. I've certainly leaned into that more than I have of like this being in an experience that I'm embarrassed and I'm afraid to tell people about. I'm definitely not. I don't view it as that way. Honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. Seeing where I'm at right now and the conversations I've had with people and the vulnerability that I've needed to exercise to get through this and gain from it and be where I'm at right now, I wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, that was kind of just my message today. Again, if you are looking to reach out, I'll leave my number in the chat. And just a heads up, I'm in like sales, so I'm on the phone a lot during the day, but I try to get back to all of you guys within 24 hours. Sometimes it's a little bit longer depending on if I'm doing something in the weekend or anything. But just reach out to me, because I am trying to reach out to all of you guys. And if you guys do want more of like a centralized area, obviously we have the Reddit thread, but that's not as personalized as say like a Telegram chat or something like that, where we could kind of talk and I could do more of these videos in a more intimate setting and talk to you guys more efficiently. Shoot me a text, whether I've talked to you or not, or haven't responded to your text yet. Shoot me a text saying you would like something like that, and me and one of my other buddies who's kind of helping me facilitate this, we can set something up like that. And again, I don't have any agenda. This just, again, helps me. Like, I could be listening to music on my walk right now, but I'm choosing to send you guys a video. Send a video to myself 6 months ago that I wish I were to hear. Like, what are the things that I wish I needed to hear? Or what are the things that I needed to hear 6, 7, or not 6, 7, I've been clean for 8 months. A year ago or 3 months into Feel Free, or even 8 months into Feel Free, like what did I need to hear? What would I have loved to be aware of? And it would have just made me feel a little bit better hearing that someone maybe was a more severe case or is going through what I'm going through right now. I've been there. So yeah, I'm just doing this because I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for the adversity, the struggle that I had to go through to get to the other side. And if I can pay it forward in any way, you know, that just makes me feel good. And I really do believe in karma and being a good steward and being able to contribute based off of my experience. So again, I'll leave it there, and I apologize if this video is a little bit more all over the place today. Didn't really know what I wanted to talk about, but just based off of the conversations I've been having and reading through my journals a few days ago, this was kind of where I was intuitively drawn to talk about. So again, my number's in the chat. If you do want for me to figure out a way to connect with you guys more efficiently, just shoot me a text and say you'd love to do that, and we can set something up, whether it's on Telegram or something like that, and I can post more of these videos, and you guys can post videos if you want, or just chime in and get more like interactive support, I guess you could say, with other people who are going through it and other people who have gotten through it, because I've talked to a lot of people also from my videos that are clean, that are 2, 3, 4, 5 months cleaner, have gotten clean in the time period where I posted my first video, and me kind of just chatting with them. Because I'm not going to tell you that I can get you off this. I can certainly be like an encouragement and kind of like a coach, and you know, just try to positively influence you to get off of it. But we all need to do, like, the only person that could get me off of Feel Free in that addiction was myself. You can have support. I think support is vital, and that's kind of what I'm here to provide. But this is one of the things my dad told me when he saw me and was with me getting off of this stuff. He's like, we can't do this for you. We'll be here to support you, but you're the only one that can get you off this, dude. And like, I just accepted that. And, you know, just faced myself in the mirror, and I was like, we're doing this. And just committed. So anyway, sweating right now. I got to go back in my condo and get some AC. But hope this helps someone. So I'll see you guys soon.